When did this become a video shop?
That would have been 1984. And so I came up with the idea, proposing to my parents, wouldn't it be great to get into the video business, because I love movies so much, and they knew the business. And so we thought about, or I proposed getting a video store maybe located up in Mira Mesa. And Mom says, you know, why don't we look at the gift shop? We're getting ready to kind of phase the Hallmark store out. You know, your father and I are getting close to 60. We're about ready to retire. And why don't you just try it and use the front of this building here? And so just the front of this store, maybe 12, 15 feet, was the original video store. And we started with about 200 titles, about 150 videos, VHS, and about 50 betas. In fact, one of our very first customers, we had two #1 customers. We had one that was a resident of the community. We had another one that was a Catholic priest. He did not even own a VCR. He had never seen a movie. I think he felt sorry for us, and he joined us. And so we had no idea how it was going to go, but it went great. And this is our 28th year. And we broke all the rules that were suggested by all the video conventions that we went to, all the video magazines. You know, they basically wanted us to build our business like the Blockbuster model, where you buy deep but narrow. And we bought shallow and wide. and then we brought foreign films in when most people weren't bringing foreign films. So like you go into a regular store, or maybe even one of the chains, and they'd say, where's your foreign film section? And there'd be maybe 20 films over there. Well, we really got deep into that, and we have about 4,500 foreign films now. We went big into the BBCs. And so we have a lot of the miniseries, a lot of the British programming, and of course classics, where we pretty much ignored the Hollywood releases of their B movies. We got their A movies, a few B movies, but we went into the other areas. And there was definitely a void here in San Diego for that, and we filled it. And our name started spreading. We didn't have to advertise much. It was pretty much word of mouth, a place where you could go.
So tell me where we are.
We are in the warehouse part of the video store, sometimes known as the bowels of the video store. I think my parents call it the messy room of the video store. And this is where all the extra things that I have found, sales that are too good to be true, some of the little mom and pops that have gone out of business that I just feel kind of coerced within my own being of buying half of their inventory, because you never know when you may need that title. So Beth, if you come all the way back here, you can see the wall of tons of DVDs, videos all the way up to the roof. And I remember how hard I searched to find some of these films. Some of the treks that I would go throughout all of California to go to some of these little mom and pops. And I was always thinking and looking for videos. In fact, about 20 years ago, I started my 100 most difficult films to find. And by the end of the year, I would find those films. They weren't films that I knew had never been in video. They were 100 films that I knew were out there, but you just couldn't find them. And like Beatles' Let It Be was one of the toughest. I finally got 3 copies of that, but one of the toughest films. It's never coming out on DVD, probably never will from what I've heard. So we have a couple video copies of that.
Any other titles from that list you might want to mention?
Candy, Terry Southern's Candy. It finally came out on DVD, but it's very rare and out of print. One of the films that I was really thrilled to get was Berlin Alexanderplatz. It's finally come out on DVD. But I've got connections throughout all the United States, and even some in Mexico and in the Far East, of people that provide me with good sources of films. I've probably got about 150 sources locked in my brain of people that I call and people that I know. And then I've met so many experts over the years. I've gotten like this amazing free education on films.
Do you know where things are back here?
You know, I usually can find them within 3 feet of where I believe they are. So, but my goal is to get everything perfectly organized. But sometimes my mom has called me and she says, do you know where a certain title is? I'll say, yeah, go back in the back room, go to the file cabinet, turn left, put your hand out to the right, three shelves up, and amazingly it's there. But that doesn't happen all the time.